In the introduction video, I talked about how PlanetSide was an MMO FPS RPG. In this video, I'll be talking about those elements that I believe makes PlanetSide a RPG and why those elements are important to immersion and team play. PlanetSide only had one hitbox for a player, so one would take the same amount of damage whether they were hit in the head or the foot. This is likely done to allow for more players on the screen without the servers having to process for several hitboxes on each player. As it turned out, this perceived flaw also turned out to be a perk, because it encouraged players to work together to be more effective, where otherwise a single player can be affected by themselves through more precise or lucky shots to the head. Realism in shooters has its place, but at the end of the day, it's the gameplay that matters the most. It's worth it to bend the rules of reality a little bit for richer gameplay. Having one hitbox allows more players to participate in the game that otherwise wouldn't, because they just don't have the precision necessary to constantly be aiming for a tiny headshot hitbox. Instead of landing headshots, players were expected to master their cone of fire instead, in order to land as many shots as possible without their cone of fire bloom getting too large, causing shots to land outside of an enemy hitbox. With one hitbox, players are in less situations where they are taking immediate lethal damage from a single player, and so they have a little time to take action when they start taking damage, such as run for cover and heal, so they might have a chance to restart the engagement on more even grounds. Having only one hitbox also makes for the most interesting sniper battles, something not possible in other shooters. Without a second player assisting, it comes down to which sniper makes the first mistake, which sniper can land the second shot before the other sniper heals. It wasn't unheard of for one or both snipers to run out of ammo in a single sniper battle, whereas a modern sniper battle typically is focused on scoring a headshot for the instant kill. Trying to make the best use of the limited space available to you was sort of like its own minigame. I remember during the times away from my computer, I would scribble down on paper different ideas for different configurations that I could later configure within the game and save to favorites, so that I wouldn't need to spend time doing that in-game and could concentrate on other aspects of gameplay. Still, it was interesting how I could be engaged in playing the game while not actually playing the game. Having this inventory system meant that there were no real classes in the game. You created your own class customized however you wanted. You could save those configurations to up to 10 favorites so that you could easily grab a loadout depending on the role you were expecting to play in the next operation. PlanetSide had a leveling system for battle experience and command experience. Gaining battle ranks would unlock additional skill points, which would allow a player to be more versatile in the equipment that they could use at any one time. So lower level players had to be more specialized in the roles they filled, but as a player leveled, they became more well-rounded in how they could contribute to the war effort. Gaining command ranks would unlock more tools for better communication and allow for timed abilities that would nullify strategic targets. As players gained ranks in both battle and command experience, their uniforms would change accordingly to reflect their experience and standing. A nice visual cue that allowed any player, friendly or enemy, to assess the capabilities and experience of a player. Players had health, stamina, and armor bars that would vary depending on the type of armor worn and the population and balance levels of the continent that you were playing on. Yet the levels didn't change based on battle experience. This meant that a new player could still beat a veteran player no matter the difference in battle ranks. While health and armor determined how durable a player was, stamina was used as a resource for jumping and player selected implants. The cost of stamina for jumping was an attempt to combat bunny hopping, which was still a rampant player strategy in the days of PlanetSide. Run out of stamina and your player comes to a crawl, unable to jump, use implants, and barely able to walk until at least 10% of stamina is recovered through not moving. It may sound harsh, but it added a sense that you needed to manage not only the resources in your inventory, but the resources that kept you alive. Implants were like minor superpowers that could be activated on demand and would consume stamina depending on the type of implant, type of armor being used, and rate of movement speed. There were implants to increase your speed, modify your sight, enhance your hearing, silence the sound of your footsteps, give you the ability to slowly regenerate health, and more. The maximum number of implants a player could have at any one time was 3, and they could be swapped out by visiting the proper terminal.